My vision has come to life. They are wild, unpredictable, and unstable. Although fast learners, I must say. It's beautiful. This isn't enough. How so? They remain too feeble-minded, unwise and primal. I never desired for more animals. Beings that act purely on instinct to kill are of no use to me. They must evolve in order to do so. There must be emotion behind it. They have not impressed me yet. I understand your concern, however, please, give them time. We can clearly see how much they're growing. Don't you remember how quickly they learned to use fire? It surprised even myself. This is only the beginning, however. They've yet to form societies among themselves. It is only then that we'll reach decent production rates, I would say. My one and only need is for them to become even more driven by emotions than their pitiful ancestors. So far, their minds contain very basic self-preservation responses, barely enough to trigger growth in my essence. They must become more intelligent, more ambitious, more unpredictable. They will, I assure you. I only ask that you remain patient. That is my greatest virtue. The alley was quickly engulfed by silence after the horror that just unfolded, the chirping sound of crickets still present. Something once pleasant to listen to is about to be unwillingly connected to murder in his mind. And there he remains, still, staring at the corpse, unable to shake off the feeling. He doesn't know if he truly killed someone horrible, or someone who perhaps did not deserve it at all, and that is exactly what's getting to him, the uncertainty of whether or not his moral compass aligns with what he's just done. If things weren't bad enough already, he's got a witness too, far earlier than what he anticipated. It doesn't matter though. His existence will inevitably be known by the world at large, sooner or later. His train of thought derails the moment he notices a thick mist emerging from his body, dark as the void, dissipating a few seconds after. Something about it sends shivers down his spine. Could it be its eeriness, its appearance, or perhaps the mere fact that he doesn't know what it is? It's mind-boggling, but he feels powerful, like he could demolish a skyscraper with his bare hands. He must understand the full extent of this power, even if it frightens him. And just as he was getting comfortable, free will is once again ripped away from him. His body feels numb, his vision turning cloudy. It feels like he's on the verge of passing out, but never succumbing to it. This time, though, it's a total failure. He can't move an inch, no matter how hard he tries. He remains calm, the dark mist occasionally passing in front of his eyes. After a minute, he felt himself becoming one with this mysterious smoke, or more specifically, becoming it. His vision darkens, his body no longer a solid, but a vapor. It is an otherworldly feeling, losing your sense of touch, your ability to interact with your surroundings. Fortunately, the restraint is gone again. He tries floating in different directions. It feels weird, but also satisfying, floating about, as there's no weight to him at all, making the experience smooth. He goes up into the sky and watches over the quiet town. He sees no one, still, aside from a man walking his dog. He then comes back down into the roof of the building that once stood behind him, his body turning back to normal without any input at all, his clothes intact. It appears to not come without its side effects, however. He feels frail, as if he's been grinded into a million pieces and stitched back together hastily and sloppily, pieces that could crumble and fall at any moment. Thankfully, it does fade away after a few moments. What a relief. Perhaps the biggest one he's ever felt. Quite a fatal side effect, though. It almost tears all the usefulness out of this ability. He can only hope that it won't be like this forever. Big emphasis on hope. Then, as a slap to the face, just as he was getting his bearings, he loses control again. This time, he's not just locked in place. His head also shifts directly into the sky, gazing into it. It appears as if his eyes are focusing on a very specific point, his pupils not moving an inch from it. This is new. He doesn't know if he's supposed to do anything or just watch. A sense of overwhelming dread creeps over him, like being face to face with a lion. He didn't feel this way back in the forest with the bear. What is going on? He is merely looking at the sky, and yet he feels like he's looking up to a colossal monster about to trample over him. This is unfathomably distressing. His body couldn't help but shake ever so slightly. After what feels like an eternity, he regains control again, immediately tumbling to the ground, dizzy, one hand covering his closed eyes. It has only been 10 minutes, though. Still a long time, but again, it felt like much, much more. It's no wonder that this experience is going to affect him in the long run, but for now, as bad as it is, he must brush it off and think of a plan for the following weeks. He knows he can't blend in with regular civilians, as it looks like he's permanently in this state. He needs a hideout, a place he can use to get his bearings, learn more about his powers, and also stay at during the day. It doesn't need to be anything fancy, naturally. Beggars can't be choosers, just like killers. He began scouting the town from the skies, looking into various apartments in hopes of finding a unit currently inhabited that he can use, even if for a short while. He wonders what it would be like to a regular person, seeing a dark mist flying about. He gazes through the windows of multiple apartment houses on the higher floors, watching several people in the human's most vulnerable position, being asleep. He's glad to feel terrible doing this. Who knows what a twisted person would already be imagining? Couldn't be him, fortunately. Reaching one of many windows by now, this one proves to stand out from the rest, and it's not just for being wide open. Peeking inside, he sees a bedroom, as usual, but this time, there is no one in it. No one sleeping safe and sound. This home sure isn't up for sale. He thought that maybe they're on vacation, but if that was the case, the windows certainly wouldn't be open. The writing is on the wall. He really shouldn't do this, but there's a small chance that it might be a good refuge for a single day. Against his better judgment, he makes himself in, flowing inside as his body returns to normal, his feet landing swiftly on the floor, making as little sound as possible. His hand reaches for the handle of the door, opening it just enough to peek through it. He sees a living room with the lights on in a small portion of the kitchen. Someone's here. It's undoubtful now. Yet for some reason, he gets mildly curious instead of turning back around. The door creaks as he fully opens it. Now in the living room, he notices something that would serve as a sign that he actually shouldn't leave. On the kitchen table, to his left, are various photos of many different people scattered across it. His eyebrows furrow as he carefully makes his way closer to the table, his boots failing to be quiet against the wooden floor. Now standing before it, he notices that most of the photos are that of women, even if some men are present too. He snatches a photo of a woman who appears to be in her early 30s, inspecting it closely. As he is, a sudden voice assaults his ears, startling him. "Get out of my house or I'll—" His body snaps around in an instant, photo still in hand. He's met with a man standing across the kitchen, pointing a silenced 9mm at him. He seems to have been caught off guard too, likely due to his appearance. None would react normally in the face of those white eyes. The man hesitates before speaking any further, his breath quickening, his hand trembling ever so slightly. "Hey, buddy, are you a host?" he nervously asks, although still remaining firm. He's unsure what he means by such a thing, choosing to remain as he is, still holding on to the photo. It's not like he can respond anyway. He is, however, feeling the need to raise his hands and leave at once, but as always, Something is preventing him from doing so. Answer me, goddammit! He presses on, thrusting the handgun forward. He's frozen in place, still trying to find out what it is that he's currently allowed to do, sweating profoundly. Look, just put the photo down and go back the way you came, okay? I won't shoot. Just put the photo down, nice and slow. Don't do anything else to it. You hear me? He is indeed quite nervous about these photos, prompting him to turn the one he's holding around. Upon doing it, he finds something written on its back. Death, November 2nd, 2021. No need to ask further questions now. He wouldn't even be given the chance to act, much less to react. His chest shot multiple times as he stumbled back onto the table, breaking it in the process. The photos flying about through the kitchen, landing on the floor along with several bits and pieces of wood. The moment was quick and quiet, aside from the table breaking. It wouldn't be the near-death experience one would expect, however. He lies on top of the debris, fully conscious. Despite feeling the bullets lodged into his chest, they didn't hurt at all, as if they were made of rubber. For fuck's sake, you just had to land there, didn't you? The man said, visibly frustrated and somewhat worried. He decides to play dead to deceive the man. That was a lot of photos, wasn't it? There isn't much to think about here, really. Although still cautious, he gets closer to confirm the kill, kneeling down to check his pulse, not wanting to waste any more bullets. Upon hearing the heartbeat, the man lets out a slight gasp. Not giving him the chance to ready up one last shot, he thrusts his finger into the man's right eye, crushing it into a bloody pulp. He tumbles back into the floor, screaming and rolling about in excruciating pain, both hands covering the agonizing injury as blood gushes out through his fingers like a tiny fountain. His handgun also fell off his hand, landing on the opposite side of the living room. Despite the wound, the man still gets up alongside him, grabbing a kitchen knife from one of the drawers close to him. He lunges at him like a madman, only for him to put an end to the swing by grabbing his wrist, followed by punching him in the face repeatedly, quickly finding himself standing on top of him on the floor, turning it into a red, bloody paste, parts of his skull showing. That was certainly overkill. He lets go of his hand, the knife tumbling off of it with a gentle clank. His face had been utterly remolded in the worst way possible, drops of blood tainting both the floor and the fridge. How strange. He's not feeling much. His body is shaking ever so slightly, his mind agitated, and yet now he's not exactly feeling any resemblance of guilt. Although, shouldn't he be feeling good about ridding the world of a person such as this? That's what he was hoping for. And yet, it's nothing but emptiness. Disappointed, he wipes the blood away from his fists, just in time for that same red essence from before to make another appearance, excreting out of the corpse. He doesn't think much about it this time around. He reaches his hand and absorbs it. It's only a matter of time until this becomes second nature. Once again he feels a surge of power coursing through his body, his heart rate speeding up dramatically. He can feel his own blood flowing tremendously fast, a weird freezing sensation to it, similar to when chugging down a cold drink. He does wonder, though. It is only him who's able to see this. Scientists would be foaming out the mouth to research this substance of sorts. And yet, why has there never even been a trace of its existence throughout the history of humanity? At least none that he knows of. Furthermore, what must happen for someone to hold this within their being? Nothing seems to make sense to him, only aiding in his confusion. He needs to find answers. Rather there's something sinister going on, or it has always been here, hidden from the world. He looks around the house, thinking that maybe he could stay here for a while. That is, for as long as the police don't show up at the door because of a disappearance report. He wonders if neighbors might have heard the man's screams, though. That would outright jeopardize this plan. He ends up noticing a journal on the couch that the man was likely reading. He snatches it and sits down. It reads as follows: Elusive robber at it again with yet another raid on FBI headquarters in New York. His eyes stayed on the title for a few seconds, baffled. How can one man raid an FBI headquarters? And why in the world would he do such a thing? Nevertheless, he carries on reading. Albany, New York, July 30, 2022. In a shocking and unprecedented event, an unidentified host referred to as a necromancer by witnesses performs an assault on FBI headquarters in Albany, allegedly attempting to steal highly classified information on specific criminals. 5 police officers were transported into the nearest hospital in critical condition after attempting to stop the man. Their bodies are pale and unresponsive, yet their hearts continue to beat, according to doctors. Witnesses claim to have heard blood-gurgling screams coming from the building, prompting the general public to speculate on the attacker's abilities. Authorities are scrambling to identify the mastermind behind this brazen attack. The perpetrator, described only as a pale man wearing a crow feather-filled coat, remains at large. Witnesses and local residents are particularly frightened this time around, describing the incident as something out of a horror film, thinking that the officers had their souls stolen by the host. Now that he thinks about it, the word host does ring a bell to him, yet he can't remember its true meaning. Given the nature of the attacker, federal authorities have reached out to Eclipse for aid in handling the case. However, the company has issued an official statement declining involvement for the time being, explaining that the officials have their hands full with other ongoing high-risk cases. A small portion of the community also points out the awful similarities between the perpetrator and the CEO of Eclipse Security Corporation, Adam, last name withheld from public record. The company and Adam himself have commented on this accusation, dismissing it as baseless conspiracy theories, using the lack of visual clarity on the few available photos and security footage in their defense. The general public outright refused this accusation, with many saying that the CEO of the company responsible for neutralizing criminal hosts would not have a reason nor a means to perform such an attack, due to not being a host himself, unlike the high-ranking officials. That was a lot of information at once. His brain is in circles. Has it always been like this? He really doesn't remember the world he lives in. Nonetheless, this man has piqued his interest, even if he is unlikely to ever meet him. Whether it is or isn't this company's CEO is indifferent to him, or so he thinks. Speaking of it, Eclipse does not sound strange at all. It's possible he knew of them prior to this. It was a nice bit of trivia about what's going on in the country, but for now, he has bigger fish on his plate. This apartment will prove useful. The question is, will it last?